Welcome to the Leverage Ledger. I'm Stephen Bielecki, host of the show and founder of The Bookies. At The Bookies, we help business owners get clarity through tax-ready bookkeeping, peace of mind through CFO advisory, and leverage through expert consulting on AI-driven automation so they can scale a more efficient, profitable business while freeing up their time. On this show, I sit down with business owners to unpack how they built their businesses, what they may have overcome, and what they are continuing to overcome, and finally, how they are continuing to build to their futures. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Bond. She's the founder of Flourish and Bloom. She's a physician who stepped outside traditional medical model to build a women's health practice that blends Western medicine with holistic coaching, focusing on areas like menopause, weight, and also sexual wellness. Her work challenges not only how care is delivered, but also mission-driven practices are built sustainably. Dr. Bond, welcome to the show, and thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here.
So first and foremost, why did you create Flourish and Bloom? What is the difference and what does the name represent? Tell us what truly differentiates your practice from a traditional clinic or coaching program.
Yeah, absolutely. So Flourish and Bloom was created out of both burnout and clarity. I was working as a busy OBGYN in the hospital, and I'm also a mom of 4 amazing kids. And I realized that I'm constantly exhausted. I love my work, but with the long hospital hours, that kept me kind of like away from my children and my home, and I didn't feel happy and balanced in my life. At the same time, I was doing a part-time job working telemedicine for another company, and I realized something surprising that it was incredibly fulfilling for me. It was really a really amazing experience. I was seeing the same woman repeatedly. I was doing follow-ups. They kept messaging me. They come back once they have their babies and they show me pictures of their babies. And I actually built a relationship with those patients. And that felt aligned with the kind of work I wanted to do as a physician and the kind of life I wanted as a mom of 4 kids. I want to be more present in their lives and not busy all the time, working at the hospital. So Flourish and Bloom was born out of that realization that I didn't have to choose between being present for my family and also doing meaningful work with women. I could do both. And so the name Flourish and Bloom came because I love being outside and I love gardening. And I look at women as flowers and I'm their gardener and I'm helping them flourish and bloom. So the name Flourish and Bloom with Dr. Bang came then. So that's how it started.
That's amazing. And what differentiates your practice from other practices?
Yeah, so it kind of sits at the intersection between medicine and coaching. So unlike traditional coaching, I'm also an OBGYN and I'm licensed in 24 states. So basically, I can give like medical advice and diagnosis and prescriptions to patients in the states that I'm licensed, but I can also help women in the states that I'm not licensed or even outside of the states by coaching them and giving them educational information about women health in general and specifically about menopause and aging and sexual problems and intimacy problems. And so, unlike a traditional clinic, this model is incredibly convenient. So, women don't have to leave their home to go to the clinic, sit there, wait for 3 hours to see a doctor to tell them something that I could probably tell them through telemedicine. Sometimes they don't need to go see the doctor. Other times when they talk to me, I feel the need that they need to go to the hospital. I actually advise them to go to the hospital. And so it's kind of like acts like a triage. And this saves women unnecessary hospital visits, decreases strain also on healthcare and people in the hospital where they can see patients that actually do need help rather than patients that don't really have to go to the hospital and can stay at home and get care at home and advice at home.
I couldn't agree more. Most of my family is somehow involved in medicine and further improving the inefficiencies that we've seen traditionally in Western medicine and looking to really improve those through entrepreneurship, I think is incredibly important. I think many physicians are understanding that and seeing that. So kudos to you for doing that. And, looking back at your Western medical training, what was the biggest limitation that made you say this model alone does not work for women and pushed you to build something new?
Yeah, one of the biggest gaps in traditional medicine is how little we are taught about nutrition and food. Now there's more awareness to this, where I believe that food is medicine. So sometimes we don't really need to take medicine if we can eat healthy, and we can help prevent diseases from happening by following healthy lifestyle solutions. That's we don't get taught in med school. We probably get taught like a lecture about nutrition. Also, another thing that's lacking is that we don't really get a lot of education about intimacy and sexual problems in med school. There's a lecture that we got taught about these things, but we don't really dive into details about how to help women who come to us with those problems. So I feel like I did this intensive training for 18 months, intimacy coaching, because I've been getting a lot of questions from women asking me questions about arousal, intimacy, and lack of desire, and also loss of intimacy in old age. And I kind of felt like my knowledge was a bit lacking. And so I wanted to get that extra training so I'm more knowledgeable when I talk to that patients and I can truly make a difference and help them.
That's amazing. Unrelated, I had two medical practitioners in the past 2 days that have talked about this holistic approach and not taking it just from a pharmacological approach, but let food be thy medicine, whether that was Socrates or Hippocrates. I forget. There's definitely been said before, but I think that resonates more in today's world. So I think that's incredibly important.
Yeah, I agree.
So you're known for deeply personal touches, animals, custom birthday cakes, and individualized care. What does that say about your core belief in how healing and transformation actually happen?
Yeah, in my house, it's a tradition for each of my four kids. A month before their birthday, they tell me what cake they want based on what's going on in their lives and what they're into. And I would actually go online and research how to make that special cake. I would watch YouTube videos, learn new techniques, and then actually spend a whole week preparing for their birthday where we would make the cake together. I would buy decorations and like it's a whole themed thing celebrating, their birthday. Same thing is in healthcare. There's no two women's alike. Every woman is different. Every woman needs that personalized touch. Every woman's journey is different. Their struggles are different. What they like and what's happening in their life is different. And so to me, that feels like the same. I'm catering to each woman and individualizing care to them based on what they need.
That's amazing. It made me feel bad. My wife's birthday was yesterday and I got her a carrot cake. I was lucky enough. I remembered that it was carrot cake. She liked
I don't
the
really do
whole
the same
week.
for my husband. My husband and I, we don't really make a big deal of our birthdays, but the kids' birthdays are a big deal.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. So, as Flourish evolved from an idea into a real business, what surprised you the most about the business side compared to the clinical side?
God, there's so much to learn. I'm learning so many things every day. It's a whole new world. And sometimes I feel frustrated. I feel like, okay, I didn't realize this is going to be like, there's so many steps, so many things to learn, so many things to take care of. It's definitely a journey, but I am really excited to see where it's going to go.
So, if you think about that, what is the single biggest challenge or bottleneck you're currently focused on overcoming to continue to grow, flourish without burning yourself out?
Yeah, so this is a startup. So the biggest challenge is building the steady flow of patients. And
Hmm.
so right now I'm doing that through education videos, podcasts, and word of mouth. And I truly believe that when women understand their bodies, trust follows naturally. So I'm creating a series of videos now where I
Mm,
actually educate women about hormones. And I use metaphors where like the hormones are like members of the royal kingdom, estrogen is the queen, progesterone is the king. And I'm trying to explain to women what happens in menopause? What happens when the queen takes a step back and then all the other organs in their bodies like change and they have brain fog, they have anxiety, and they have those hot flashes. So I'm trying to launch on those educational videos, and hopefully that will create more traction to the practice. So for now, my biggest challenge is getting like the patients flow. Patients come through the door, but I'm sure there'll be other challenges in the future when the practice is more established.
yeah, it's the first challenge to overcome, right? When you're going out on your own, is to build that established base of
Yeah,
clientele, to
yeah.
build that referral base.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's the first challenge, and then from there, it's where my next question really ties in is once you kind of get that going, how do you evaluate and look into the visibility of getting that business? Things like then you got to look at the operations and capacity and trying to stabilize the revenue or trying to identify which part of your work daily truly drives results. I often say, the first part of my job is to bring on more clients. The second part of my job is to service those clients. And it's a consistent juggle. So I'm curious how you do that for yourself.
Well, for now, it's just me, and I have my friend. She's helping me with website and computer stuff to lessen the load a little bit. But once I get more patience and I get more flow, I plan on adding more people. Actually, the dream is at the end of this year, hopefully, we've expanded enough where I can add like other people with me. The dream is to make this like one place where women get comprehensive care from like physicians, nutritionists, sex coaches, everything that women want like in one place. So that's like the big dream, like the big picture at the end. As I move along and I need more help, I will start to like add people to help me later on in the future as we advance and I have more load of patients.
Of course. Yeah. It's tough to try to figure out and understand what to delegate first. It's nice to hear you have a little bit of help, but it's tough. And some of the things that we talk about on this show is just even utilizing some of the AI that's involved or automation and things like that, because it can accelerate. The guy I had on earlier, CJ, he was talking about like if he didn't have that, it would cost him thousands of dollars to go in and try to find out how to establish a business to create an LLC. And he's right, but it creates that ability to get involved sooner, to learn more faster. And then once you're at a good point, then it's okay, then I can bring on somebody to help handle that. The thing is, especially in medicine, is that so many of the tools are evolving so quickly. It's hard to keep up with, honestly, between telemedicine and the different medical records, AI, automation, all that stuff. I'm curious how you decide what actually improves efficiency. Like how do you look at your day and say, okay, you know what? I did this better than yesterday. For me, I try to focus on usually like two or three things. Like, okay, if I can knock out these two or three things of all the things that come at me in the day, which as a business owner, like all these things come at me. Um, if you have like two or three things that you're just like, all right, if I do this, I feel good. I can go play with my kids and feel good about my day. I'm curious if you have anything that you measure that based on.
I do. I have my whole day is fully scheduled with things to do. Not all of them are work. Some of them are half an hour to exercise, half an hour to have breakfast.
Nice.
I have my 2 hours of telemedicine in the morning. And then after that, I have breakfast for like half an hour. And then I have to sit on the computer and figure out like work stuff and like business stuff. I do have to do some researching. Now I'm learning how to, do viral video hooks on Instagram. I don't really
Like
want
this one.
I want educational, but I also want it to reach more people. So that's also something to learn how to do those videos, watch other people see what they do, what worked, what didn't work. How can I improve on this? I did this video, but not a lot of people looked at it. But then when I did this video, a lot of people looked at that. So what did I do different? And like, how can I improve? And like that itself will take at least 2 hours. I also have to factor in that I have to drop off the kids in the morning and pick them up in the afternoon and do food and all that stuff. And I use AI, of course. You were just talking about AI. AI is very helpful too. It helps me a lot with like dictating notes for my telemedicine visits or sometimes brainstorming ideas. And, it's very helpful for sure. It makes a difference.
Yeah, it's incredible because feel like I use more access, more information. But even as a tax person, I found where I'm like, okay, what do you think of this? I'll bounce ideas off of it. Okay, here's what I think for their tax strategy. What do you think? And sometimes I'll get something back, and I'm like, wow, that's actually really good. Except you forgot this, this, and this. And
Yes.
it's yeah, if you
AI is not perfect. It's not what
right.
everybody thinks. It's not perfect.
It's not. So you have to audit it yourself and be like, okay, I think this is good. So, or it's not. And in that as well is also trying to maintain, especially in your business, of that personalization. You don't want to lose that personal touch.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, if there's ways that you try to evaluate that and look at it and if you've noticed some of that.
In terms of using AI.
Well, yeah, and anything that you're using it for, because I feel like I spend half the time trying to figure out what I'm trying to say, and then the other half of the time trying to dilute what it said to make it more personable.
I talk with patients every day and I've been doing it for 15 years. So to me, this comes like second nature. I feel like I know women. I know how to talk to them. I know what's sensitive, what's not to talk about. I know empathize with a lot of women because I've been through a lot of the things they've been through. So I don't struggle with. I don't struggle with how to talk to women and how to put ideas. I struggle with time management and learning new things and trying to see how I can make AI reduce my time and how I can be more efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. I love what you said there because that's what I try to pride myself into is the human side of it, and that's what I'm afraid is getting lost anymore is that human touch. So I think it's so important for people like ourselves to lean on that as much as we are trying to. Uh, and
Yeah,
one of the things I wanted to ask you about was where you think the system breaks down most. Uh, you talked about education. Is it access? Is it time? Is it economics? Or is it something else? Where do you think the system is um, needs the most improvement?
it's tough. I think we're not lacking on education. I think it's accessibility and reach. And I feel like the internet has changed that. And now people can access doctors from home and they don't have to go to the clinic and they can ask questions and get answers and they can message a doctor and a doctor will answer them. And like in the company that I'm in, they can even call me at like 3 a.m. in the morning. I get a call from somebody who says a patient has a question. Here's their number. Please call them back. So I feel like such a huge convenience to a lot of people. And talking about AI versus human touch, and I know a lot of people think that AI, this is the talk, AI will replace a lot of jobs. It might, but it will not replace human touch.
Hmm.
Do not think that there will come a day where people will say, I don't want to see the doctor. I'll just talk to AI. I have a lot of patients coming to me saying, we look this on ChatGPT or we Google this and this is what it says. Is this true? They want somebody to tell them, like, does this apply to them? Because things on the internet and on AI are generalized. But when you talk to a doctor who's actually been through 6 years of training, 4 years of residency, like in my specialty, we know how to filter what applies to them in their Google search and what doesn't apply to them. Because sometimes when we go down that rabbit hole of searching down Google, we see a lot of things that's scary. And then somebody wrote a
Yeah.
story and said, oh, this happened and then I had cancer. Oh, this happened and I lost my baby. And then women freak out and they're like, is this going to happen to me? Is this what's going on? So I feel like talking about AI versus human touch, I don't think it will ever replace that. It will help. And like AI can actually help improve
Hmm.
where we are, but it will never replace human touch, not in medicine at least.
I agree. It can be a helpful tool if used properly. But yeah, it's been since like WebMD. Um, just some funny stories that people have convinced themselves one thing or another because of what WebMD said. Like, are you going to run that panel? Like, no, I don't run that panel because of X, Y, and Z, which it did not consider. It's just
Yeah,
kind of funny. Like,
now people are more and more educated. Sometimes it's annoying, honestly, when somebody comes and I'm telling them something, they're like, no, but Google says this and I want to do this. And I'm like, but it's really not necessary. Sure, go ahead and do it, but
hmm.
it's not going to help you. And here's why. If we did this test, like let's say, for example, easiest thing that comes to my mind, menopause.
Hmm.
Right? There are tests that confirm that women are in menopause, right? There's estrogen,
Sure.
FSH, and estrogen will drop, FSH will go up when women are in menopause. Women think that they automatically need to get that test to get that confirmation. That doesn't change anything. If she's having the symptoms, then just getting a blood test that tells her that what she's having is what it is, it's menopause, then she doesn't need it. Instead, I would say, like, well, let's do a TSH test. That's a thyroid hormone test because that will rule out something that's similar to menopause, but we don't really need to confirm it because if it's not thyroid, then it is menopause. And let's just treat your symptoms and see how we can make you feel better. But some people are just stuck in their ways. They want what they read on Google and they want to follow that. That becomes a challenge sometimes.
Yeah, I get it on my end as well. Obviously not as important, but it's funny. People are more educated, which is good, but sometimes they just lean into it as truth, and it's good knowledge to have, but you take it to that professional, you take it to that expert like yourself to really understand it, to vet it out, right? So it's a good starting point. I think it helps level the playing field to a certain extent, but that's where the experts come in. So one of the things I wanted to ask you about is that you work across cultures, across generations, um, with a very specific patient subset. So I'm curious, what is one persistent myth about midlife women that you're actively trying to dismantle through Flourish?
Yeah, you're not broken. This is not the end of life. This is a new phase. Embrace it, and let's work together on trying to make you feel good about yourself again. Also, culture matters deeply for me. I am targeting a group for Middle Eastern women. I come from that culture. I understand the unspoken rules, the shame, the silence, the barriers for asking for help in that culture. And sometimes the most powerful thing is just being seen and heard and understood. And that's where I feel like I come through differently than other people. I see those women, I hear them, I understand them without judging them. And that's where healing starts. When you tell somebody, there's no need for you to feel embarrassed about this. There's no shame. There's no stigma. This is normal. Everybody goes through this, but not everybody talks about it, especially in like Middle Eastern cultures. They brush it off as like, this is life, this is normal. But yes, this is life. Yes, this is normal, but we can do something to help make you feel better. And you don't have to feel this way about yourself. Your life can improve. There are things that we can do to help you. So I'm very passionate about this and I want to help women of all cultures, but specifically from women from my culture because I understand them better.
Sure. It's unbelievably important, especially when you don't understand some of the challenges that they're going through specifically, that you could really be just a champion for them, right? I think that's incredible. So we're recording this is the first week of January. Uh, New Year's resolution. I'm curious if you have any particular goals for Flourish and for yourself personally and professionally this year that you're trying to accomplish it.
Yes. I hope this business will flourish and bloom like the name is. It is. I hope it to be bigger and bigger and expand and where I can add people who help me make it even a better place for women to seek help and care. That's for the business. And for me personally, I just finished my last shift in the hospital a couple days ago. I'm celebrating no more hospital. I am working from completely from home now. I'm doing telemedicine for this other company and working on this business. My goals is to eat healthier, exercise more, drink more water, be a more present mom for my kids and my husband and my family, my parents, and just enjoy life more and enjoy this new phase that I'm hoping will be a very successful one.
Fantastic. Dr. Bond, thank you so much for sharing your story, your work, and really the realities of building something so meaningful that means so much to so many people and so many women. So I really do appreciate you being on and talking to us about this. For everyone listening, we'll include links in the show notes so you can learn more about Dr. Bond and Flourish and Bloom and her practice and her ongoing work. And if you found this conversation valuable, please subscribe to the show, share it with another business owner who you think would appreciate it. And if you or someone you know has a story worth telling, please reach out. Thank you for listening to the Leverage Ledger.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Happy New Year.